Hello, my dear people. Unfortunately, previous videos was not saved, so this one will be much shorter and much more powerful. Let's start. This was about leak preparation, as you already understood, and I'm really sure that you are able to read things. So just go through the guideline. I will put attention just on some details here and the information how you can use it. Yeah, here is main responsible people and main things which need to be defined in the first time. I know that you already have a days, already invite the chair, so you just need to understand the timeline, and also to have separate responsible for agenda and separate responsible for logistic, like a venue, breaks, and so on and so on. So you will have proper conditions and proper content on the conference. Usually final responsible of the whole conference, it's LCP or TM, depends from the strength of the person and availability during this time. And here will be button when you can watch this video always. Yeah, here you can find the whole conference team, which include chair, agenda manager, conference manager, OC team, and PASI team. And main job description of these people for what they are responsible as a whole team. Here job description per each of the person in the team. You can find here like main roles, and if you have also team, you also can find it here. Um, Also, as in all work in ISIC, we have some synergies. This is two main one: agenda manager and chair, to align the final message to be sure of the content each of touch points which chair will provide during the conference, and also agenda manager, conference manager, and LCP to understand how preparation for conference is going, and what need to be improved from both sides. And yes, really important if you don't have some roles. For example, you don't have OC team. So it doesn't mean that you are skipping GD of these people. You need to divide it. For example, conference manager fully responsible of the whole things which need to be done from the conference team, because this is how you will make a proper conference. Um, yeah, here you can find conference preparation timeline according to the realities which you have right now. So some of you already have less than 2 weeks to the conference, like just one LC. But anyway, here you can find touch points and what should happen inside the each touch point. And for day zero, we have separate slide with things which you need to cover. Um, and I hope you already understand what is leak, and remind you one more time that leak is part of onboarding process. And also on our common call we discussed about role of the leak, and so I just put it here. um, Here is the block of agenda. We this time we almost keep the same blocks which previous time. We just increase team block and give less topics, but to give more time for these topics, especially for the team one, because this is the most powerful touch point for the team and start work on it. Also, this is the basics which should happen before onboarding. So if you are not covering some of the things, it should be included in one of touch points during onboarding, or you will not finish education of people properly. And here you can find the agenda explanation, each session, explanation of the session, and who can be fussy of the session. I'm sure you're able to read, so you can read it by yourself. And here you can find agenda template. This is a tool, the agenda. You just open it. Yeah, just open it. You find here the same blocks, explanation, agenda. There's some advices what you need to do with this agenda. Going next. We have agenda, but it's not enough. We also need to work with FASI, and before we need to allocate FASI. Here for me, one big advice. First, to define the profile of each of session which you have, especially based on your needs, because for some sessions you maybe need some more structured person, for some more inspireful and active. So put profile not based on which people you have in your EB, but profile which you think as a gender manager is good for this format of this session, and then You go to profiles of your EBs, team leaders, and the chair, and you allocate people according to this. And you tell person why you allocate him or her for this session, because it will help person on what capitalize during the facilitation. Also, we work with FASI constantly, and we have some touch points with them. This is the first touch point which should happen with FASI. Set the goal of the conference and create vision of the conference. Vision is the main message with what people will leave the conference, because there is a lot of content inside. But this message will help them first to have one main outcome, and the second have clear link between all of the sessions. Then you allocate FASI as soon as you have final version of agenda, and you prepare with them outline. What is outline? One more time, we can go with the link which is on the bottom. Um, in the same one, you can find it here. Very simple. Name of the session, session objectives, three main thoughts which we will cover during the session. Connection with the previous session and with the next one. Not just name of the session, but actually connection. How this session connected with the previous one, with which thought, with which message. And this is how you will start your session. The same for the next session. This is the main message, the main link with what you will end your session to connect it with the next one. Wow moment, something which people will remind for sure, and with what they will associate your session. I'm pretty sure that if you will remember the previous conferences and you will thinking about really cool sessions, you will remind one exact exercise or talk or speech what was the wow moment of this session. And duration, main FASI, co-FASI involved. What is the difference between main FASI, co-FASI involved person? Main FASI, final responsible of the session. When you track the level of preparation of the session, you go into the main FASI. Co-FASI is person who mostly help co-create the session and co-deliver the session, but the main responsible for make it happen, the more proactive in this way, is main FASI. And involved, it's people who just involved. For example, to help facilitate one activity because it's not enough to have two people for it, or to come and tell like your story or your about your product. These people should be briefed before the session, but they don't need to be involved in creation or in full delivery of the session. And here you have time, you just change here duration, put time of start of the session, and you go in with the flow of the session, like each talk, each thought which you have in the session, you're putting here in order. I really recommend you to put like some main phrases which you will use, not to forget it. And also here you put materials, who is responsible for this part, how you will deliver it. Also for the person responsible for logistics, have understanding what you need for logistics. So this is outline. Um, yeah, and as soon as people will have a draft of outline, you have it in the conference timeline, else that you have personal meeting agenda manager with FASI, which means you are meeting with your FASI for 15-20 minutes maximum. You're going through outline, and as agenda manager, as a person who know the big picture of the conference and things which should happen in the rest of sessions, and the main idea of the session. You provide feedback. What should be changed? What should be changed? What should be in another way? Then you have presentation preparation. Here really important because this is visual part and people put a lot of attention how you visualize your thought. So PPT should be really beautiful and smart and understandable and readable. Here is small advices to you how to make good PPT. Also, you can just Google it. How to make good PPT or like templates for good PPT, and you will find a lot of useful information. From my side, all PPTs should be in one style. It's color, for example. Here you can notice that I'm using ISEC blue. It should be font. Don't use more than 2 fonts, one for the title, as you can see here, Elsa, and the second for the text. Better to use Lato because Lato is everywhere and it's the most readable font. Or you can use different style, different colors, but to keep the theme of the conference. For example, superheroes of Marvel. And yes, you have different superheroes in different PPTs, but you have the same font and you have the same theme, superheroes. Um, and one recommendation how to be sure that your PPT is good. Before you, like as soon as you arrive on the venue, you connect all techniques and you dry run all PPT with technique to be sure that all fonts are readable and people will see it wherever they will see. Also, as soon as you have draft of your PPT, you have the first dry run with the whole team and you're going through all PPT to be sure that everything is understandable and your session is ready. Here is more about dry runs. You have two. First one, as I already told, with PPT final or draft, you sit and you go through the whole day. Also, to be sure that you have clear connection between each of session and everyone know what will happen in each session and don't repeat the same things or repeat them with a purpose. The second is during day zero with technique to be sure that you know how you move, you know how you will run activities with the delegates, you know that all your videos, music are working properly. And during day zero, you have conference team space to set expectations, to know each other a bit more, to have some small team building because you should work really as a team during these 2 days of the conference. Also, you need to have emotional flow. I will talk about it at the end. Better to have it before, but if you don't have enough time, it can be on day zero. Day zero should happen 1 day before the conference start. Also, to have dry runs if you didn't have it yet. To check logistic preparation, be sure that all logistic prepared for each of the session. To check technique one more time, everything is worked, and backstage agenda. I will also explain you at the end what does it mean. During LIC, I really recommend you to have morning and evening briefs because it will help you to understand how is conference going, and if you need to bring some changes, bring them immediately. During morning brief, you check the level of preparation of the session and logistics just to be sure that everything is ready for the day. And if someone needs some help or you have some common sessions, for example, simulation, one more time to brief people what they should do. And during the evening brief, you evaluate the day, give feedback to each other because if you are not delivering the session and don't have other work connected with conference, it's really good to be on the session, especially it's your first conference as EB and it can help you a lot to improve for the next conference as PASI team. Also, you collect feedback from the delegates before conference end. I think I will add more information about it here because you should understand how the conference was, how the day was for the people. It can be really simple questions. Evaluate conference from 1 to 10 to have NPS, what was good, what you should need to improve, and main thoughts to understand that the main message which you try to deliver during this conference people get perfectly. Check preparation for the next day and to have next steps from each of people. What should be prepared for the next day to have everything is ready for the morning, to finish some sessions, to have one more run, to bring some changes, to prepare logistics, to set up the plenary, and so on and so on. And also it's really important to have post meeting, not just finish conference and forget about it, but also this is a really important touch point to close experience as conference team, and the second to understand what you can improve for the next one because you will have next one. You should evaluate the conference. You should check goal of the conference and personal goal of the conference. You need to go through the final feedback from the delegates to understand fully how was the conference for them. And analyze conference in really simple way. It can be start, stop, continue to understand what you should start doing from the next conference, what was not there, what should you stop doing, and what should you continue doing, what was good, and what you can capitalize. And of course appreciate each other because conference is really great work and sometimes we forget to do it and it can be really cool closing touch point of the post meeting. Um, yeah, main themes, details, which will help you to make your conference better. Why? Because conference it's event, and all events about details. So better to have conference theme. It can be theme of your LC, like a mascot, like wolf or hero. It should be like logo of the conference better and common design for the whole conference. Better to have conference song, so you train this behavior of delegates. This song started. You need to go to the plenary. And facility roll call can be your LC roll call because you have a lot of newbies, so they will learn how to dance it. And extra agenda, this is additional things which will help you to support the common content, for example, photo zone, SDG banner, or something else. Sugar cooks, it's also extra agenda. Roll calls, the music which you're putting is also extra agenda. The group activities, talks during the breaks, is also about the details which help you to deliver the content not only during the session but also at the rest of time for the delegates. And the last slide, emotional flow, backstage, and risk management. What is it? You can read explanation, so I will explain you directly with the tool. So emotional flow, very simple. You have agenda, but we can control how people will arrive. So um, you understand how delegates will feel arrived on this session. Then you as a facilitator of the session, you know how delegates should feel to get 100% from the content. And you are thinking, okay, what I should do before the session or during the session to make it happen, to change this mood to the mood which you need. And you do it for the whole sessions. This is help you to understand which details you should have during the session to give them 100% of outcome, what should be. Then you have backstage. Backstage mainly for you to understand what who is doing what in which time, because it will help you a lot. First, if something will happen, you will know which people are free and how they can help. Also for people to understand how, like, which time they have during the conference, because sometimes we need help, sometimes we need something like some changes, sometimes we need to prepare plenary or logistics to another session, sometimes we just simply need to work or to study, for example. And here you for 100% sure which time during which sessions you have. Also, don't forget that you should be present on the common sessions like opening or evening, better, or during why, how, what, also to share your opinion, and also common touch points is a break or lunch to communicate with the delegates. And risk management, everything can happen, just be ready for it and be ready for it. You put here all cases which should happen, which not should but can happen. um, Everything based on your previous experience and your imagination. You understand how you can prevent this happen and what you need to do to solve it and who's finally responsible. So if something will happen, you know how to solve it and you know who need to solve it, not to, for the whole team focus on it and fuck up the conference. And also a person who is responsible can work beforehand to prevent it to happen. um, I think this is all for the link. Yes, yes. So good luck. If you have any questions, feel free to approach me. And now I should stop recording.